Most people believe that once they finally build a working money system, the hard part is over. And technically, that's true in terms of structure. You've created clarity, you've built consistency, and you've removed chaos from your financial life. But this is exactly where a different type of mistake shows up. And it's one that quietly resets progress if you're not aware of it. Once people feel like they've figured it out, they either become too relaxed or they become too aggressive. They either stop paying attention because things feel stable, or they start trying to optimize everything too quickly because they want faster results. Both of these break the system in different ways. One leads to drift, where small inconsistencies slowly erode structure. The other leads to instability, where too many changes disrupt what was already working. So this final step is not about doing more. It's about understanding your new role. You are no longer someone trying to fix your finances. You are someone operating a system that already works. That shift is critical because operators don't react emotionally, and they don't constantly rebuild. They observe, maintain, and refine when necessary. And once you fully step into that role, your system stops being something fragile and starts becoming something durable. That durability is what creates long-term results. Not effort, not intensity, but consistency over time. And that's what this final step locks in permanently. Step 1 is stabilizing your system by removing unnecessary adjustments and allowing it to operate long enough to produce real data. Most people don't give their system enough time to prove itself. They make changes based on short-term feelings instead of long-term patterns. For example, if one week feels tight, they assume the system isn't working. If one expense feels uncomfortable, they start shifting categories immediately. But one moment does not define a pattern. A system needs time to show you how it performs across different situations. That means your job is to hold the structure steady long enough to see what's actually happening. You don't remove flexibility, but you remove impulsive changes. You commit to running your system for a defined period, 30 days, 60 days, without major adjustments. During that time, you observe instead of reacting. You allow your income, your expenses, and your categories to move naturally within the system you built. This creates real feedback instead of emotional feedback. And that difference matters because emotional feedback is inconsistent, while real data shows you what's actually working. Stabilization is what turns your system from an idea into something proven. Step 2 is shifting from control to measurement, which is where your role becomes more strategic. When you were building your system, you needed to actively control everything. You had to decide where money goes, how it flows, and what rules it follows. But now, your system already handles those decisions. So instead of controlling every move, you measure performance. You look at how your savings are growing, how consistent your spending is, and how reliably your system is holding its structure. This doesn't mean constant tracking or over-normalizing every number. It means having a few clear checkpoints that you review consistently. For example, are you saving at the rate you expected? Are your spending categories staying within their limits? Are your planned expenses being handled without disruption? These are performance indicators. And when you track them over time, you start to see patterns. Those patterns tell you whether your system is aligned or needs adjustment. But again, the key is timing. You don't adjust based on a single week or a single moment. You adjust based on trends. That's what separates control from management. Control reacts. Management evaluates. And this step moves you into management. Step 3 is reinforcing your system through consistent, low-effort habits that keep everything aligned without requiring daily attention. At this point, your system should already be automated in key areas. Your savings happen automatically, your bills are scheduled, and your allocations are structured. But there are still a few behaviors that keep everything running smoothly. The most important one is your weekly reset. This is not a deep review. It's a quick alignment check. You confirm that your accounts are where they should be, your categories are holding, and nothing unexpected has shifted your structure. This takes minutes, not hours, but it prevents small issues from growing into larger ones. It also reinforces awareness, which is critical for long-term consistency. because even the best system needs occasional attention to stay aligned. The difference is that this attention is scheduled and minimal, instead of constant and reactive. And over time, this becomes automatic. It becomes part of your routine, like checking your calendar or reviewing your week. That's how habits support your system without creating extra effort. Step 4 is increasing your system's capacity without disrupting its structure, which is where real growth begins. Once your system is stable, you will naturally have opportunities to improve it. Maybe your income increases, maybe your expenses become more predictable, or maybe your efficiency improves. The key here is to grow within the system, not outside of it. That means any increase in income gets absorbed by your structure. Your savings increase, your investments expand, and your allocations adjust slightly without breaking the system. You don't overhaul everything. You refine it. Small increases, applied consistently, create significant long-term results. This is how you scale your system without adding complexity. Because the structure remains the same, only the numbers change. And that consistency is what allows growth to happen without friction. Step 5 is protecting your system from lifestyle inflation and external pressure, which is one of the biggest threats to long-term progress. As your financial situation improves, your ability to spend increases. And with that comes more opportunities to expand your lifestyle. Again, this is not inherently bad, but if it happens automatically, it will consume your progress. That's why your system needs boundaries. Your spending ceiling, your allocation rules, and your structure exists to protect what you've built. When new opportunities come up, you evaluate them against your system instead of your emotions. Does this fit within your structure? Does it support your long-term goals? Or does it disrupt your progress? These questions keep your system intact. Because without protection, growth becomes temporary. Step 6 is expanding your focus beyond money into what your system actually enables, which is where everything becomes meaningful. At the beginning, your focus was on control. You wanted clarity, stability, and consistency. But now, your system provides those things automatically. So your focus shifts to outcomes. What does this system allow you to do? More flexibility, less stress, better decisions, and more control over your time. That's the real purpose. Money is the tool, but the system is what makes the tool effective. And once you see that, maintaining your system becomes easier because it's connected to something bigger than numbers. So your action for today is simple, but critical. Stop trying to improve everything immediately. Stabilize your system, measure its performance, maintain your habits, grow it gradually, protect it from disruption, and connect it to your life. Because once you do this, your system stops being something you manage and becomes something that runs. And when your system runs consistently, your progress becomes inevitable. The daily yield, because we're building real financial progress, one step at a time.